Liesl, good evening. I don't know too much about Abiy Ahmed, but the little that I know makes me a fan. Are you a fan? And well-deserved, I say here.
I am a fan, I think, and if one goes to Ethiopia and sees how ordinary people really look up to him, he's very popular and has been for the last, almost 2 years. I was there actually in Addis Ababa on that very memorable day when Isaias Afwerki of Eritrea came back and visited Addis Ababa for the first time after, as you said, 20 years of hostilities, really. And it was incredibly moving and how the masses of ordinary Ethiopians actually were so relieved and what this peace meant to them. Of course, it is complicated and
it's not as easy considering all the years of fighting.
But he is popular,
So, I mean, look, he's what, 43 years old?
Yeah.
You know, he's my age. I have to wonder, what have I done wrong? I'm not getting any peace prizes for anything, but
you might still.
I'm old now as well. And in 6 months, I mean, in just over 6 months, he had already changed the face of Ethiopian politics forever. And there are people out there saying, yes, well, he's not perfect. The fighting continues, but it's not funded by the state. It's not, the state is not asking people to go out and do this, but he's trying his best to control all of this.
Yes, I think the conflict and the displacement and the ethnic tensions that we see now is a result of a state that has also been so closed. It's been a repressive state, an authoritarian state in Ethiopia for so long. And when Abiy Ahmed came and almost, disrupted the whole system, freed political prisoners, lifted the state of emergency, freed the media. There's, the ISS has a big office in Addis Ababa, and I always chat to those researchers there who say, but actually, because you guys are not reading the Amharic newspapers and listening to the radio, you have no idea how vibrant the debates are. That is something that never existed before. So of course, now there's a lot of anxiety and uncertainty about the future because you have these big ethnic groups. There's a lot at stake. Yes. The tensions on the border with Eritrea are not completely sorted out, but at least now the air links have been reestablished and people, can visit their relatives and so on. That hasn't been before. On the other end, we have Sudan with all the disruptions there, where Abiy Ahmed has also played a role, actually, in brokering a deal with the military junta and the opposition. So, in a way, he is also almost a victim of his success in that there are these massive disruptions and displacement. Organizations like Amnesty International and Human Rights Watch say, no, he should do more to protect ordinary people and to make sure that this violence ends. But it's more intercommunal violence. It is quite complex.
Yeah, and difficult to sort of pin it down, I would imagine. Now, he's being described as the most transformational leader in Africa's recent history. Now, we know he's definitely progressive. In terms of also the women he has in his government, I'm thrilled by that.
Yes,
we have been since
it's true. I mean, the president is really a remarkable lady, and I've seen her on many occasions. See, she comes to big meetings of the African Union and so on because he also sends her out, or she takes a stronger role, I think, than the president in the past that you hardly ever saw. It's a ceremonial president. So the president, the chief justice, the head of the electoral commission, many women in top positions, for example, and even entrepreneurs in Addis Ababa. There is now wonderful Uber sort of a ride, they call themselves is run by a young lady who, a woman who's as an entrepreneur, and that is a very recent in Ethiopia. There is a dynamic that is really, really very positive.
Where did he come from? I mean, who was he before he became prime minister?
Yeah, I mean, he was an academic also. He was in the military as well. Yeah. That's why there's that famous scene of when there was an attempted coup last year and the soldiers came and he did the push-ups, that's become so famous.
And spoke to them, yes.
And spoke to them and said, okay, let's see who can do this best. He was in the ruling party. Sorry?
He won them over.
He won, he won them over. There's still a lot of uncertainty, especially about the top ranks of the military. He also, to root out corruption, he had to let a lot of people go, and of course people don't like that. They're vested interests, business interests, and so on. So he's not completely out of the woods, but with his charm and with his sort of brave, bold, way of doing things, it looks like Ethiopia is on a very different trajectory now.
Well, what do you reckon, this Nobel Peace Prize? And it is the 100th prize. Also, it's quite significant, the 100th Peace Prize that's been given out. What do you think this is going to do for him and for the people of Ethiopia as well?
Some people say it is too early, but it's a very strong focus now on the Horn of Africa and Ethiopia and its importance. A stable, prosperous Ethiopia is so important for the whole continent. And I think people will look at him and hopefully take some lessons from him.
Some people,
other African leaders.
Some of those people might be, yes,
But it means a lot for the Ethiopian people who are already very proud of their history and their place on the continent. And I think, we don't know, he is very young, and hopefully his other efforts inside the country and outside will continue just to promote dialogue. He's now trying between Somalia and Kenya, also getting dialogue. So his sort of bold style, almost saying, what are we fighting for here? Let's just look at economic prosperity, which is more or less what happened with Eritrea.
Because, and I think what it is there, Lisa, is that there is no self-interest. It's not about just, trying to be popular, him trying to see what he can get out of
Stay
this.
in power,
which many say is unlike many other African leaders.
One often gets that impression that it is just about you and your clan and those around you.
Taking what you can get in that time.
And staying as long as possible. We don't know. He's a politician and a head of state and not perfect either. But it does seem as if he's got a very fresh approach and really has the interest at heart of his country and of the region, really.
Fantastic. Well, I'll tell you, I think we should invite him over here to do a Leadership 101 course. That's like the point. Thank you very much, Lisa Waldron from the Institute for Security Studies there. Just about Abiy Ahmed, he's the Prime Minister of Ethiopia. He's the 100th Nobel Peace Prize winner, and well-deserved, I think.